What is up, Geeks and Geekettes? Welcome to another episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. My name is Steady. We got another great show for you, and joining me on this tremendous episode is one of the only folks around the world that can celebrate his birthday on actual Star Wars Day. It's Rob.
That's right, and we're bringing it to you OG style. It started out with you and me, Steady. It's back to you and me.
Man. That's what I'm
hey,
talking
who needs JC and Jericho? We don't need them.
I don't know.
You know?
Where are those guys?
I don't know, man. They're useless. They're pawns. That's what they are. They're just tools.
That's what it is. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. I'm excited not only to be on this show with you, but because you are going to be more engaged on this episode than you have been on any other episode.
Probably than ever.
With the exception maybe of like the Spider-Man episodes. But this is definitely going to be a big one for you. So if you haven't figured it out yet, happy birthday to Rob. Happy Star Wars Day to everybody around the world. And we're going to talk Clone Wars because it's been what, almost is it like 12 years it's been around? I forget.
So I think it came out in 2006. So we're in 2020. So it's 14 years actually.
14, Jesus.
I think before they released the series, they released a movie.
Yeah.
It was like an hour and a half or so. I think that was released in 2005, 2006. And then I believe season 1 was released like 2007.
There you go.
So we're talking like 13, 14 years.
Yeah. So the epic series that is the Clone Wars has come to an end in a very dramatic fashion. And Rob and I are going to discuss the last few episodes of the series. I also want to talk about some of the episodes that I really loved in earlier seasons. That won't take too much time. But before we get to any of that, we got our Geeky Weekly updates, and this is going to be mostly Rob focused.
Let me pause right there. I want to correct myself. So I'm watching Clone Wars right now, or I'm not watching, but I got it on here in the background.
There you go.
And the year is 2008. Season 1 came out in 2008.
So 12 years.
You're right. We're talking 12 years. Anyways, back to
the episode. But first, our Geeky Weekly updates, and it's going to be a tremendous amount. I know a bunch that Rob's going to like, and I'm going to start off on a very high note because I know Rob's all about this right now. One of his favorite actors of all time is the one and only 5-foot-something man himself, Tom Cruise.
What is going on with Tom Cruise?
This guy has done his own stunts. He's flown helicopters. He's flown fighter jets. Just when you thought there's nothing else this man can do, now he's going to space.
What?
NASA has confirmed that they're working with Tom Cruise on a film that will be a movie that will be filmed on the International Space Station that's orbiting Earth. Tom Cruise is going to film a movie
the
in
literal
space.
Station, the real space station. It's not some makeshift one in the studio, like an actual one.
No green screen. Tom's going to be thousands of miles above the surface of the Earth, floating around. I don't know if he has a death wish or maybe he's immortal and he's just testing his limits. What are your thoughts on this, Rob?
That's insane. Well, okay, so the first thing that comes to my head is there's virtually no sound in space, right?
Right.
So, I guess when you're in a spaceship, that's different, right?
Yes.
There is sound in the spaceship, so
yeah, the sound waves bounce within the walls of
the walls, right. That makes sense. Yeah. Wow, dude, that's insane, dude. Can you imagine that? Hey, Steady, this is Universal Studios, and we got a role just perfect for you, sir. How do you feel about space? What do you say to that?
I think he probably was the one that pitched it. And he's like, I've done everything else. I'm getting bored here on Earth.
Yeah.
I'm getting bored on Earth. I need to do a movie that really tests some limits. So he's going to go to space.
Dude, that's insane.
It is insane. Like, definition of insanity is somebody wanting to go to space to do a movie. Or a studio saying yes to do a movie. It's going to cost them how much just to get him up there and the film crew?
Dude. They must have very high hopes of a large return investment on this movie. If they're willing to drop that much money, you know what I mean?
We have a lot
they gotta have real deep pocket investors, that's for sure.
We have actually a few followers that were already excited about the news. So, hey, man, more power to him. I'm just hoping he comes back safely because you know what happens in all these space movies? Stuff goes bad.
Dude, stuff goes bad wrong. In real life space. In real space, shit goes wrong.
Yes.
Dude.
Oh, man. So no telling what. There's no other details, but NASA's helping, so it's legit. It's as legit as you can get it to be now. Tom Cruise is going to space. Let's see here. What else we got? There's been a new release, a new DLC release for Mortal Kombat 11. A bunch of new characters, or some old ones actually, some old familiar faces that you might remember. Head on over to our Facebook page if you want to see that. Only reason why I bring it up is because a very popular movie character popped up at the end of the trailer, and it is one and only RoboCop himself. RoboCop is going to be in a Mortal Kombat game, and I'm freaking out. That is amazing.
Dude, that's got to be perfect considering that they already have Terminator.
Yes. Oh my God.
So, can you imagine Terminator versus RoboCop?
Dude,
that's probably
killing it.
That's definitely what would you call it? What does JC to call it in wrestling when he's like fantasy booking?
Oh yeah.
You know? That's as close as it gets right there.
The dream match right there.
For sure.
RoboCop versus Terminator, and also
dude, that's insane. When did they release that?
The DLC will be released the 25th later this month.
I just saw a trailer for what it made it sound like is a sequel to Mortal Kombat 11. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but exciting trailer. You want to check it out? Yeah. Head on over to our Facebook page. RoboCop, baby, yeah.
Hey, what's our Facebook page so I can go and check that out?
That's facebook.com/countdown city Geekcast.
There you go.
All right.
Nice drop.
You should visit it every now and then.
Too busy,
I'm just kidding. I know you
do. I don't even keep up with my own Facebook page.
Here's what you're missing out on. Did you see all your birthday wishes?
I did.
You did. On the Geekcast page.
Hey, yes, I did, and I gotta say that's one mighty fine picture. Loved it.
Instead of using your beard, I decided to use Mark's beard instead, and it
there's nothing wrong with my beard. You know?
There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not Jedi approved. Mark's got a Jedi approved beard over there.
Yes, he does.
So shout out to Alex Alpha and Brock Johnson for shouting out Rob on his birthday. Appreciate those two guys. Some of our top fans over on Facebook.
Got a question for you then.
Go for it.
If that is a Jedi approved beard,
yeah,
then what say you about old Ben Kenobi's beard? He's old. He's retired. He's in Tatooine. It's scruffy as hell. That's not a solid beard.
That's true, but he's also not going around. Well, I guess Mark wasn't either at this point in time. Neither one of them are going around parading themselves as Jedis. They're all hermits at this point. So
this is true, but still, at one point in time, Kenobi did have a rock solid beard, though.
Oh, for sure.
So
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Let's keep this going with the Robert Geeky headlines that he's gonna love. Reports are coming out that Becky Lynch,
Hey,
WWE superstar and one of the longest reigning women's champions of all
yeah,
time, right? It's been well
yeah.
over a year now that she's held the Raw title.
I think she's holding the current
Current
record.
record?
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
Her or Bailey. I don't know. Bailey keeps talking about holding the SmackDown title the longest, but it might be specific to the SmackDown title. Anyways,
It probably is.
anywhere.
It
Becky
probably
Lynch.
is. You're right. You're probably right about that. Becky Lynch, rumors are spreading that she is joining the Marvel Universe, that an
What?
upcoming Phase 4 film will actually have Becky in a
Oh
role.
wow.
Not sure if it's a major role, like a leading cast member, or if it's just a supporting role. Maybe it's just a
Okay.
cameo. No idea yet. No details have been given. She's not denying it. But this came from somewhat of a reliable source, so it's not 100% for sure. But I wouldn't put it past WWE, Becky, or Marvel to kind of pull the gun on this. They have so many other people already making cameos. Stallone, your boy Lex Luthor, what's his name from Smallville? He plays
Huh.
a role in
Rosenbaum. Michael
Rosenbaum. He
Rosenbaum.
he plays a character, a side character in Guardians of the Galaxy. So your thoughts, Robert? Becky Lynch in a Marvel movie. Do you hope it's a leading role? Do you hope it's just a small part? And then how do you think she'll do in a movie, an actual film?
So I I will say I don't hope it's a leading role. Mostly because I don't think she's been in any sort of WWE production movies, so she
Right.
may not have a lot of acting experience. She A small side role may
Okay.
suit her better, just to kind of get her feet wet, see how she likes it.
All right.
I hope she gets casted in something. That'd be great for her as a fan. That'd be great to see her do. That would be awesome for WWE because the Marvel fan base is massive, So not, I'm pretty sure the large part of their fan base are already wrestling fans. I would have to say, but
Yeah.
for those that aren't, like the younger kids that may not really know what wrestling is, they see this character, they may like her, and then like, hey, well, where's she from? And they find out she's from the WWE, and hey, guess what? The wrestling world has another fan, you know. So who knows? But it'd be pretty cool to see her. A smaller role for sure, though. Nothing crazy.
I agree. Becky is queen. Love me some
Yeah,
Becky. I would love to see her on the big screen. And
she's
plus,
she's no Alexa Bliss, but it's cool.
I'm never going to
It's
start this
cool.
conversation.
It's cool. This is the one time that I can bring her up and not have anybody come in and try to interrupt me.
JC,
Let's
we
be
just got an
honest.
incoming call from JC. Let's bring him in on the line.
Is that line 5 ringing? Go ahead and hang up, sir.
Go ahead, caller.
Ignored.
What's great is that with Becky, you know what you're going to get. She's got that fiery red hair. She's got this sassy attitude. She takes no shit
Yeah.
from anybody. So
And
if a
she's got a quirky attitude. She's got a quirky
little bit,
personality
oh
that
yeah,
that that could suit any sort of character in Marvel.
she's so likable and so contagious. Her
Yeah.
personality, that attitude, it's very Stone Cold Steve Austin. He had an
Yeah.
attitude that was just contagious.
Right.
You just you just soaked it up, man. So Becky's a lot of the same. However, you did say you're not sure how she would do in a movie. I am almost of the mindset that like any WWE superstar, not wrestler, like bottom of the roster, but any
Uh-huh.
superstar, they're acting like 300 something days out of the year on the road,
Sure.
doing shows or
Yeah.
pay-per-views. To me, I'm just like, that's another level of acting because you're having to live a role all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
So
and because
I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt.
it's not just on camera.
No,
It's their Twitter life. It's their social media
yeah,
life that they have to carry these storylines into. It's like how
I
do
don't
you
get it.
blur those lines as well as you do, and not allow yourself to get
Too caught up.
swallowed up in that life, and forget
Yeah.
oh, this isn't me. This is just my character, you know.
I'm not supposed to be
It's
breaking
crazy.
chairs at my house. What am I doing?
My
I
wife
completely
just
agree.
back-talked me. I'm about to beat her ass.
No, definitely not. She could
Have
take you.
my kid come in with a referee shirt, and you know, no, but you know, it's a very good point. Like it's impressive how they do that. Now it's not obviously not all of them are as good as some.
Yeah,
Some of them are really bad, and some of them are mediocre, and some
yeah.
are just really good at it.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. We're probably, a long time away from anything definitive being announced. Every
Mm-hmm.
single production, movie production they've had has been halted. So this is all just going to get pushed back and delayed more and more. Moving
Yeah.
on to some other news, along with pushbacks and delays, some more movies have been pushed back by the Lionsgate Film Studio. One that I was really looking forward to this month, Spiral from the Book of Saw, featuring Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson, was
What's that
expected.
about?
What do you mean? What's that about? Oh my god!
Spiral. I haven't seen a trailer for it.
It is
Maybe you know what?
a
Maybe what? To do me a favor, instead of describing it to me,
yeah.
how about
Ooh,
what's our Facebook page line again? Facebook.
Countdown City Geekcast forward up facebook.com/Countdown City Geekcast.
There you go. Don't you go? You already dropped that trailer in there.
I sure have.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna go to facebook.com/Countdown City Geekcast, and I want to check it out.
Check it out. But just a
Anyways,
hint,
as you were.
it's from the Book of Saw.
Okay.
Saw.
All right.
Saw.
All right. All right.
Saw. All right.
All right.
So that's been pushed back an entire year. It's now going to come out May 21st, 2021. And like I just mentioned, this was something that was going to come out in like this week, if I'm not mistaken, this week. So, crap. Great movie, pushed back a whole year. Another movie that got pushed back, the sequel to The Hitman's Bodyguard, The
Really?
Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, featuring
Oh
Ryan
God.
Reynolds, Samuel
Is Catherine
Jackson,
Zeta-Jones coming back?
not Catherine, Salma Hayek.
Oh, Salma Hayek. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sequel has been pushed back to August 20th, 2021. And
Wow.
probably the biggest one out of these three, John Wick Chapter 4, has been pushed back into May 27th, 2022.
That's
2 years
unfortunate.
away. You know what's the worst?
That wasn't exactly planned originally. Was it a part 4? Like maybe that just came out because of how well part 3 did.
Who knows, man? I wouldn't put that past them at all to just like
Yeah.
try to milk this for
Dude,
all they got.
this could be a huge series, you know.
They can go on forever. When do they do a crossover? That's what I want to know.
What
What
about Bill
other
and Ted?
universe can they blur into?
What about
Please.
the third installment of Bill and Ted? Any word on that?
This year, this summer, I don't know if it's getting pushed back or not. I got to look that up. I don't want to say
Yeah.
what I think it's going to come out as. All right, moving along. More Robert-focused news. A new Star Wars movie has been announced. Well,
Yes,
a new
sir.
project has been announced, and a new
Right.
director has been selected. Thor Ragnarok director, and also one of the director team members of The Mandalorian, Taika Waititi, is going to co-write and direct a brand new Star Wars movie. No details have been revealed from this project, but Taika's the man. Talk about personality and creativity. He's already filming the next Thor movie. And so everybody's just excited. Robert, do you think Taika has what it takes to elevate the franchise even further?
For sure. I think, especially if he brings in Dave Filoni on the project, I think it could be amazing for sure. They just, I think people forget Star Wars was originally written for, 12, 13-year-old boys,
Uh-oh.
right? And
Which
so when
mean
they
you
give,
are still 12, 13-year-old boys.
at heart,
Yeah.
for sure, at heart. But I think people forget that. And so now when they're in their 30s and their 40s and their 50s and they're throwing their fists in the air and they're all pissed off because it's, too corny or this and that, I think, they forget what the audience is supposed to be for this type of movie,
Yeah.
And so, Thor Ragnarok, it wasn't serious by any means of the imagination.
No.
There was jokes left and right. There was comedy.
Entertaining as hell.
It was entertaining. It was action and comedy. That's what it was. For Star Wars Episode 4 in 1977, that was action and comedy.
Yeah.
For that era. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
So in today's day and age, what we got in Episode 7, 8, and 9, regardless of what the story was, okay, regardless of how they wrote it, we had action and we had comedy.
For sure.
Okay, so it's gonna be fine. I think it'll still remain in that realm as action and comedy, and I think Taika is gonna nail it just right, especially with his given resume.
What era, what aspect of Star Wars either would you like to see or would you like Taika to take on? Because we have eras, we have modern era, we have like the prequel era, we have Old Republic era, we have everything in between, or you could just completely deviate from anything Force related and just deal with clones or just deal with other planets outside of the war. Like what do you want to see?
So, man, that's such a hard question because
like
you got to choose
Mandalorian's not dealing with any of the mess, It's all post post Revenge of the Sith.
It's right after it's right after Return of the Jedi. It's not long after.
That's right. After six.
Yeah. So, even the writing in there, it was mostly action with very subtle comedy.
Yeah.
And that was very, very original trilogy-esque.
Oh, for
you know
sure.
What I mean? Original trilogy was mostly action, and the comedy that was in it was very subtle. It wasn't so apparent and corny like 7, 8, and 9, where it was like, oh, that's an obvious joke, or it's just you can see it coming almost instantly from Poe or from Finn or whatever. In 4, 5, and 6, it was the little details or the little comments that Han would make, that would make it funny because you can see it on their face, their expressions. It wasn't just little quick jab jokes, so there was almost a certain style to it, and Mandalorian was, I think, written in that style, which is perfect. I think that's what they need to keep it at. So, and as far as era goes, you got to choose your director very wisely, because if, let's say, for example, they chose to do a movie in the Old Republic, I think you almost got to take the comedy out of that.
Pretty close,
because you got to think this is a bygone era, very old school, old tradition beliefs that I don't see how they can write that to include comedy. And if they do, it's got to be almost so subtle or very sophisticated comedy. It can't be, what do they call those quick jokes? They're like Family Guy almost type jokes. You know what I mean? They got to that's got to be cut out completely. So it's whatever era they decide to do this film in, the director has to be chosen very carefully, for sure. It's gotta fit perfectly.
I agree. I'm going to always lean towards Old Republic because I just want to get away from the Skywalker saga as much as possible. We need to get into a new playing field. We need to get into a new era where the mass public can't attack it based on their own viewpoints. Gamers who played KOTOR. What's that?
Yeah. Why can't we get a movie solely focused on the Sith?
There you go. Ooh, look at you.
Because think about it. I mean, we had the Skywalker saga. Most of that was focused on the Jedi.
Yeah.
And So it was almost like it was written in a certain point of view, as they say in Star Wars. It's always a certain point of view as far as how you look at it from the perspective of the Force.
Sure.
So what if they turned it around, wrote a story primarily focused on the Jedi, maybe on Plagueis, maybe let's see a movie on the origins of Sidious. How did he get to be one? How did he get trained in the art form of the Sith? How did he end up becoming a senator? Like, we don't know a whole lot about him yet, other than the fact that he was in the Republic essentially as a spy. You know what I mean? He was in the shadows as a Sith Lord running things, but we don't know how he got there. Now,
That's
unless
right.
you maybe read books or there's knowledge out there, online knowledge that people have read about, I mean, not a lot of people, especially not the common fan, just the average moviegoer fan, is going to know a whole lot about it.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty cool to kind of see it from that perspective from the Sith. And they can make it dark. They can make it real dark. They don't got to make it light or funny or comedy. It would be very interesting to see it as a rated R.
Yeah, now we're talking.
So.
Which is funny because I'll bring that up later when we start talking about Clone Wars about how graphic some of these fight scenes are. Holy crap, man! All right, more Star Wars news. Star Wars Day, Star Wars Week, so more Star Wars news.
Keep it coming.
Disney Plus has already announced the Kenobi series. They've already announced the Cassian Andor series, a prequel, if you will, to Rogue One. And now there is a third series currently in development. But if they're announcing it, it's like for sure. Leslie Headland will write, produce, and serve as showrunner for a brand new Star Wars series on the Disney Plus streaming service. Three Star Wars series in development, and we already have Mandalorian that's like running on all cylinders. So you could have a series drop every 3 months, man. That's freaking amazing. Sure. We're rolling in the Star Wars stuff. And look, I'll start off by saying the more Star Wars series, the better. I think even though me and Rob probably have different opinions about Episode 9, we could probably both agree that it would have much better have served as a two-part film instead of shoving so much content in one. So with a television series on a Disney Plus streaming service, you have time to actually dive into story arcs and build characters and get attachments to people, because that's what you need is audience engagement. I think that's one of my gripes with the entire sequel trilogy is just we're supposed to like some of these characters as much as we like Luke, Han, and Leia, and we never really had the time to get to like these people as much as we did Luke, Han, and Leia. So,
I mean, the writing was rushed in 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. They didn't have the same time that 4, 5, and 6 had. 4, 5, and 6 had 3 years in between. 7, 8, and 9 was just every other year. So they were at a disadvantage, I think. I don't think that's the fault of the writers per se. It could be the pressure from Disney. Like, hey, y'all need to put these movies out. Like, this is your timeline. Get to it. And I think that's partially why 7 almost wound up being a duplicate of Episode 4. Almost like a remake. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I think the writing was very the part where they're all in the little command center and they're all discussing the plan to infiltrate Starkiller Base. And Finn is talking about infiltrating this and that, and Han is like shield generator. Like it's like he's recounting his mission from Episode 4 or 6 or whatever, on Return of the Jedi, when they had to infiltrate Endor to destroy the shield generator so they can destroy fucking Death Star 2. So yeah, it was bad, but I don't know where we were going with that, but yeah.
New series that they're going to have the time to actually dive into.
There you go. Have the time
to a story in depth. You need this large amount of time because that's how big this universe is. That's
Right.
how much things can tie together very, very well, and for the fans
For
to
sure.
love it and soak it all in. And you had so much success with The Mandalorian, you know the formula now. You know that you need to dive into areas of Star Wars that haven't been explored thoroughly. Um, we don't have any live action Mandalorians.
They have the
Boba,
formula, but the key to access that formula or to utilize it correctly is
yeah.
Dave Filoni.
Oh, totally, totally, Dave. Not only Dave, but Jon Favreau. Jon
Yes, John Favreau.
Favreau just has a consistent, high quality way of storytelling, and
Yeah,
he knows how to
agreed.
pick people. He knows how to put a crew together. And damn, Favreau can just nail a story. Is it going to be the greatest movie or series of all time? Probably not. But he has a bar set of quality, of a standard that he always meets and or exceeds. So I have total faith in Favreau. Just one of those guys needs to make sure they're involved in a few of these other series, even
Yeah,
though they're killing it with The Mandalorian right now. But we'll see
yeah.
what happens.
At,
So
at
another
least, at
Star
least,
Wars
just
series.
provide some tidbits, advice. Hey, this is how I would do it, and leave it up to the director to take their advice or not. But at least their input was there.
Just thought of something. What if they're trying to build a Star Wars TV universe, whereas
Mm.
Kenobi can definitely no, Kenobi cannot. The Kenobi series can cross over with Mandalorian for obvious reasons. Uh,
That depends. That depends if Mando ever finds himself on Tatooine.
no, but Kenobi's dead by this point.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Now,
No,
young
he's not dead.
Mandalorian.
He's in the Force.
All right,
He
all
lives
right.
within the
He's in the
Force.
Force. So maybe he can run into a young Mando. Maybe he can actually run into the child, aka Baby Yoda. So maybe there could be little threads that tie these four Star Wars series together in some fashion. The fans will just eat
I
it up
heard
if you do it that way.
I heard talks of him running into a Luke Skywalker,
That'd be
but
cool.
how they would make that work, I'm not sure. Obviously, they have the technology to do it. They showed that in Episode 9.
Oh yeah, you could de-age anybody
That'd be
now.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So lots of Star Wars stuff, man. Loving it.
Yeah.
Great, great, great week. Great week. Let's see. A couple of more things. Mandalorian season 2. Peyton Reed and Robert Rodriguez have joined the director's team. Peyton Reed, of course, was one of the last. Peyton Reed directed the Ant-Man movies. I don't remember if he did both. I think he did. Yeah, he did both, and he's also on board to direct the third one. And Robert Rodriguez, we know him from uh, El Mariachi, from Dust Till Dawn, from the TV series, from all the Spy Kids movies. Robert's just awesome, and so it's just great that he's getting this opportunity, as well as Peyton. So bravo to those two guys for joining the Star Wars universe, directing episodes in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Can't wait to see that. And then last bit of geeky weekly news is all about the New Mutants. So one of the most cursed films as far as release dates go in the history of cinema, the New Mutants was rumored possibly or revealed way too early to be released on video on demand, or what they're calling premiere video on demand, whenever one of these theatrical films gets released
Yeah.
onto video on demand first. We'll call it a title card was released on some streaming services around the globe, not just in the US, but also the UK, with the New Mutants available for pre-order in some of these areas. Removed in most places, and no major statements came out from Disney at this point. But now everyone's starting to see that, you know what? It's never going to get released in theaters at this point, especially with the current environment that we have. So maybe video on demand is the way to go. I think a lot of people will be interested to see the movie now, especially with all the little clips. The previous trailer that came out was great, in my opinion. It looked really good. And all the still frames that are being released. So New Mutants, hopefully we see it soon. It'd be great if it's video on demand. We're just waiting for an official statement at this point. Rob, any thoughts about New Mutants, or are you just like over this already?
No thoughts whatsoever.
Yeah,
I haven't seen a single trailer. I haven't seen a single clip. Every time I see the title, I'm like, I don't know what you are, and scroll through.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll do it for the Geeky Weekly Updates. Time to get to our major topic of the day, and that is going to be all about Star Wars: The Clone Wars. We're going to discuss the final 4 episodes in length, but also wanted to call out a couple of other items. First of which is the Cast Reunion Challenge presented by D23. This Friday, May the 8th at 7 p.m. Eastern, you can watch a cast reunion of all the major characters in the Clone Wars. And that's happening this Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern. There's 2 places you can watch the reunion special. The first of which is the Disney D23 Facebook page, as well as the Disney D23 YouTube page. If everything goes according to plan, we're going to do a watch party on our Facebook page, and then we'll maybe do a recap afterwards if Rob's free.
Yeah, quite possibly. You actually that was going to answer my question. I was about to ask you. Were you by chance going to be posting that link on our Facebook page? What's our Facebook page again?
Our Facebook page, I don't think I've mentioned it yet, is facebook.com/countdown to the Geekcast.
There you go.
Boom.
So when these people go there, they can hit the like button, right?
They should.
So they could, follow, keep up with us and comment on our stuff.
They should.
Just like that.
They definitely should. Participate. All kinds of memes. Drop some comments. Drop some reviews. And then this Friday, we'll be engaged in a watch party for the cast reunion special. And can't wait to see it, man, because it's been one hell of a week for the Clone Wars. Shout out to a few individuals that we posed a question. Did the final few episodes live up to your expectations? What did you think of the finale? And Daniel Villanueva said the last scene was incredibly sad and haunting. Totally agree. It was a great ending, though. Sebastian Statura said it was a very satisfying ending. And then, Ryan from Alamo City Movie Talk, I was kind of I was hoping to avoid him because in my head, I'm like, Ryan's not going to like this. Ryan's not going to like that. But regardless, he said he had higher expectations, but he was content for what we got. He's just the biggest
content. Oh my goodness, what is this dude's problem?
He's just a big. No. It's hard to please that guy. It's hard to please that guy with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think that's what it comes down to.
You know what? Next time you mention his name, I'm getting off this call. How about that?
Ooh, we'll talk to him soon about it, I'm sure.
That's a threat.
Oh man, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Rob, you were probably watching a lot from the get-go. I actually caught up a lot over the last couple of weeks because I just kind of let it, it got canceled. I was like, oh, why even catch up now? It got canceled back in 2014. It got canceled, I think. So
somewhere around there, yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of gave up on it.
So it came out in 2008. They had 6 seasons. So yeah, about 2014.
So when it was canceled, I know that all the fans just, went to a big, I don't know, deep dark hole and just cried about it. So I was like, I'm not going to catch up at this point. There's no point in catching up. Felt a lot like Young Justice, so I kind of know what they were going through. But lo and behold, it is back, and we had the trailer that dropped at I think San Diego Comic-Con last year. I ended up catching up. Yeah, I don't think I'll go through a lot of this stuff right now. I might wait till the end of our show. But let's go over the last 4 episodes. Starting with episode 9, Old Friends Not Forgotten. I love this opening, by the way. We see Anakin on a bridge, and he's playing this awesome game. He's
like
telling...
a stud, right? God damn, there he walks. Hey, hold up. First of all, you're neglecting Kenobi's entrance.
Okay.
Like a champ. Like a champ.
Yeah.
He slices that rocket in half. He looks at Cody. What's up? Like, dude, like a champ. But then, he hides under a rock with Cody. I'm like, come on, man! I was playing it safe, Kenobi.
They had a plan.
Sure. That was wait for Skywalker to save their ass.
Exactly.
That's what
he
it
knew
was.
Anakin would have a plan, and it was a great plan. He was playing possum. He's telling the clone, not the clones. He's telling the separatist army that he surrenders, and he's just buying enough time so they can take over the battle. And I just love the moment when they're all flying up and they're on the bridge taking them out.
The 501st,
absolutely love that. There you go.
Yep. 501st.
We do get Ahsoka's return to help with the siege on Mandalore. An epic battle ensues. I love the clones showing their respect of Ahsoka by painting their helmets in her likeness. And, of course, it ends on a cliffhanger. She comes face to face once again with Darth Maul, who is expecting Kenobi, but Ahsoka shows up regardless. So, Rob, this was titled Old Friends Not Forgotten. This was the first of 4 parts. What did you think about this episode?
So, I watched each episode on a weekly basis as they were released.
Yeah.
With more anticipation for the next episode as I went along. So, watching this one, man, I went in. So, I rewatched seasons 1 through 6 well in advance. Okay. So I was already waiting for season 7 to start. Episodes 1 through 8 were, they were just kind of catching us up. They were warming us up for these final 4 episodes, because if you ask me, season 7 was these 4 episodes. Okay.
All right.
It brought everything together. I think it gave us a nice conclusion. Although I think there are still some questions that it left us with. But, seeing Anakin walk up like a champ, like, well, why are y'all hiding down there? What's going on? And, he just walked up to the separatist army, and he force pulled that commander droid, and he just like sliced that dude's head off. And dude,
great
only
plan.
a champ,
Great plan.
only Skywalker. If you watched seasons 1 through 6, it's is like classic Skywalker doing something crazy.
Yeah.
Just to win the battle, and he lives and breathes on the battlefield. And it was like not a day has gone by since season 6. Still doing what he does. Seeing Ahsoka return was just hit me right in the heart, my man. Hit me right in the heart. It's like, there he is. There's my girl.
And that shot. What about the shot of them with her likeness on their helmets?
Yeah, so that was right really cool, right?
Man. Right in the feels.
That was something, right? That was something. I think that shows if you hadn't picked up in the original seasons.
Yeah.
These clones are more than clones,
Oh, for sure.
They have feelings, they have emotions, they have loyalty, and that was the message there, is regardless of the path Ahsoka took, after pretty much being thrown aside from the Jedi Order. It's that they still respected her as their commander because she was there for them every day.
Yeah.
And that, they never forgot that. And so it was very cool to see that, even though, you can tell she was almost, you don't have to do that. It's not necessary, kind of thing. But it was just really cool to see them paying that sort of homage to her. So that was super cool,
Absolutely loved it.
Not to mention, right after that, Anakin presents her with 2 new lightsabers.
Yeah.
Well, they were the same lightsabers, I believe. He just replaced the crystals. Yeah, he replaced the crystals to more of a blue, which, I think was more of his way to, hey, these are to remember me, because he had a blue saber himself. That was dude, so cool. And not to mention, man, the oh man, it's not graphics, but just the way they filmed the lightsaber use is just amazing. Like, you don't see a lightsaber wielded like that in a movie or in any other show, where it's just like you see the movement of the saber. It just looks so swift and beautiful. And then the show, it was filmed amazing. So that was great. And that scene when he presents her with the lightsabers, that's literally when the alarms go off.
Yeah.
That's the alarm sounding. Everybody, when you watch episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and it starts out with, a big space battle, a big space dogfight. That alarm in that first episode is what's sounding everybody to that battle that we see in episode 3. So it was really cool to see that play out that way and connect the TV series to the movie world.
Did you expect this much of a tie-in to Revenge of the Sith? Because if you're asking me how I thought, this series would end, I thought we would probably get something slightly different, slightly disengaged from Revenge of the Sith. But you saw, I'm getting ahead of myself, you saw like conversations that we saw in episode 3, and they're a little bit more extended, and this person comes in like right after that conversation ends, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah, so it's really cool how they threaded all that together, for sure. Now, I did go in expecting to see the ties from these, like the time frame is what's happening here is what's happening over here. I did expect that for sure. So it was just very nice to see how it tied in together. So
there you go.
Very cool. I loved it.
Yeah. All right. Episode 10, The Phantom Apprentice. As I said, we ended on a cliffhanger. The end of 9 with Darth Maul and Ahsoka coming face to face. Quick fight, and then Maul escapes, and then to my surprise, this is something we didn't actually learn in episode 3, but the Jedi practically know almost all of Darth Sidious's plan in its entirety. I mean, even Obi-Wan has a conversation with Yoda and others, saying he's telling Ahsoka, oh yeah, the Sith Lord Sidious, he's playing both sides against one another. And I'm like, you know all this, but like nobody saw.
Well, the problem is they don't know who Sidious is.
They don't know, but
they don't know that it's Palpatine yet. And so that's the problem.
But
that's why they can't pursue it.
It's not just that though, but they knew that the clones were defective. They knew that
knew that, but they didn't know how.
They didn't know how, but they knew that there was something done to them at an early age, and that maybe not everybody knew like across the board, but like Ahsoka probably had the most information. And during this episode, she's telling everybody, I need to talk to Anakin. I need to talk to Anakin. And they keep telling her like, he's kind of busy. He's like spying on the Chancellor, even though
Well,
the Chancellor is
here's the
playing him.
problem, but here's the problem, and I may be jumping ahead of myself on this point, but
Yeah.
Yoda asked her, you know,
Do you have more to tell us?
message for Skywalker, you have, and she says no, like I'll tell him myself. That was maybe that was because that was a little bit of mistrust. She didn't know if she could trust Yoda per se because of their past with her and the Jedi. She didn't want to tell Yoda that. She wanted to get it straight to Anakin.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, had she told Yoda, I think we could have prevented Anakin turning into Vader.
There you go.
Because at that point Yoda could have reached out to Anakin and like, hey, we're gonna pull you off this spy mission that we sent you on Palpatine, because ultimately this is his plan. His plan is to turn you to the dark side by, luring you into his whatever, trying to trick him.
The prequels are so underrated, and I hate that people sometimes crap on them and you automatically throw them in the bottom of like all the episodic films. No. You can even see like in this episode all of the key moments where like if we just pivoted this way a little bit, the whole thing changes. When Mace Windu's like, the Chancellor needs to let go of his power now that the Clone Wars are over. And he's like, I'm going to go confront him. I'm going to go tell him to take a seat. And all Yoda has to say is, that sounds a little aggressive. Why don't we wait on this? Or let's take more people. Yoda's like, no. Good plan. Just be careful. Like, what? That's a good plan.
But here's the other problem. Mace Windu takes some of the shittiest Jedi with him. You know what I mean? Like, when he kills them, they're virtually just standing there, letting him kill them. I'm like, and y'all are supposed to be masters?
True.
What the hell is this nonsense?
Those are some quick kills.
Dude, they're ridiculous, man.
Granted, though, like Palpatine is so powerful that he's been able to fool the Jedi for this long, for years.
So they were caught off guard, is what you're saying. The problem is
not caught off guard. That's how powerful he is as a Sith Lord, that he's able to cloud the visions and the insight of the Jedi. He's basically closing off their stuff.
No. Yeah, but when Mace Windu confronts him,
Mace
Windu confronts him with Kit Fisto and I don't know, I can't remember the other two Jedi. They see him They see him ignite his saber.
Yeah.
They had enough time before he lunges. They all have enough time to get in a defensive stance.
True.
What the fuck? It's so irritating to watch that scene,
Yeah. I agree. God. I agree with you. Too quick of kills. But my point is, like, I love seeing all these moments where, like, if something just goes this way instead, maybe the Jedi have hope. But we already know where this train's going to crash, We already know where it's going to end up. Maul confronts Ahsoka later in episode 10, and he lets her know everything. He's like, Sidious is doing everything.
We're talking on Mandalore?
Yeah.
On the throne room? Okay.
Yes. They've already taken Mandalore, by the way, or they've already recaptured Mandalore by this point. And Maul is talking to Ahsoka, and he's telling her, like, look, Sidious, his plan's about to go down. Anakin's been, Anakin's going to be his new apprentice, but you and I have the power to take him down if we join forces. And to my surprise, Ahsoka has this look on her face where, like, she's actually intrigued. She's actually, like, considering this because there is a lot of truth to what he's saying. And he's not lying about, like, 90% of it in her mind. But at the end of his little bombshell drop of like the entire scheme, he mentions Anakin's going to turn into a Sith Lord, and that's when she's like, okay, well now let's go ahead and fight this, because Anakin would never do that. And
Right. I think
crazy.
I think that, I don't know if I want to say she truly believes that. But in reality, I think deep down, she has a bit of doubt, because Anakin is like her big brother.
Oh, sure. For sure.
And his opinion of the Jedi and the Jedi Council is very much similar to what she thinks of it, that it's full of bullshit. And so I think deep down, she thinks there is some truth to what Maul is saying, but she's in denial, essentially, when he tells her, Sidious's plan was to make him his apprentice.
Yeah. And that's the only part she doesn't buy, though. That's the only part she doesn't buy.
Right. So how do you only buy some of it but not all of it? Like, Maul has no reason to lie here whatsoever. He has nothing to gain from it other than trying to, derail Sidious's plan, because Sidious essentially just, discarded Maul. He died, and that was it.
Well, he also knows that he was just a pawn.
Right. He comes to realization of that.
Yeah.
Sidious does nothing to save him. He
only needs you for when he needs you. But he already had Dooku was already lined up as the next apprentice after that. But Dooku's also a pawn, because he's gone as soon as Anakin turns over, So yeah.
But
that's why the prequels are underrated, because this entire scheme is going across 3 films, and it's beautifully executed by the Sith Lord.
Yeah.
Love it.
For sure. And the whole line, as they say in episode 9, always in the shadows.
Always.
And everybody gave that line so much shit, but it's true. This dude has been around since the Clone War era, and nobody's ever been able to catch him, because he's always in the shadows.
He's always in the shadow, and he's always manipulating people. This series does it perfectly. Again, I'm backtracing.
Is this not the greatest evil villain ever?
Oh gosh, yeah.
To survive 3 generations, 3 eras,
Yeah, and he's, super smart, super cunning. Even though he's, one of the most powerful beings in the universe, he doesn't just go out and decimate people from the get-go. He's playing the long game, and nobody saw it coming. So, F and A. I was going to say that along the series, every now and then, there's these little threads that could give away his plot, his ploy. When they found, when one of the clones had the chip removed, and then I forget the next guy that did it. It wasn't Fives, was it?
Fives is the one that the chip malfunctioned on.
Okay.
And it,
no, he was the second guy.
He was, I think he was the second guy, and that's what kind of brought up questions, I think, because initially when it first happened, it was kind of like, oh, okay. And then it happened to Fives. Now it's like, okay, that's a little strange. Like, what's going on here with these chips? Why are they malfunctioning in these clones?
Yeah.
And so the I forget what they're called, but the people on Camino that created these clones, they were trying to cover it up, because obviously they're in it with Sidious. They know what the purpose of these things were. So, but yeah,
isn't that tremendous? That's tremendous. Dude, that you get these details, that they are fully aware of what they've done. You didn't get that in it's not episode 3, is it? Episode 2, probably. Yeah, episode 2.
Episode 2 is where they introduced
the clones, Camino. Yeah, and so you kind of hear like, Sifo Dyas was the one that ordered them. Yeah. And in my head, I'm like, okay, but really, was it Sifo Dyas? Was it Dooku pretending to be him. Like,
No,
there's more to this story, but it actually was him.
Sifo-Dyas.
Yeah,
it was Sifo-Dyas. I think they explained that in Clone Wars.
they did. They explained the whole thing, and the
Yeah.
Camino scientists, they knew all about it. They knew that there was they knew there was a chip that was more of like a protocol. If the Jedi ever turned bad, they could use it to take them out.
I think that's what they spun the story to be,
right?
To avoid, the truth leaking out.
Yeah, but they don't know that. Okay, so they know the capabilities, but they don't know what the overall plan is. Basically,
Yeah,
everybody has their part to play in Palpatine's little puppet game, baby. I love
he's
it.
the puppet
I love
master,
it.
man.
God
The puppet
damn.
master.
All right, let's get moving. Episode 11, Shattered, the most anticipated episode in all of Clone Wars, maybe all of Star Wars television, basically.
Very, very.
Oh man, deep.
Not a broody. Maybe is the word I'm looking for, but it was just very dark.
I was gonna say haunting. Yeah,
haunting. Yes, because
there's
you know what's coming, right? You know what's coming, and it's you don't want it to happen. You know it's already happened, but you don't. Like inside, I'm like, please don't
Mama,
let
no.
it happen. Yeah, it's the piece of the story that we're missing, that we didn't get.
You know what? I'm gonna say a couple of things. The score. There's this uneasiness about this episode, mainly because of what you say. We know what's about to happen, but the score behind it is just so freaking haunting, man.
Yeah.
They capture Maul. They're transporting him. They're on this ship, and the score is just so haunting. It's like a horror movie, and it practically is because of what's about to happen. And then the best moment to me is that Ahsoka is hearing Anakin's heel turn. Little wrestling reference there. She's hearing the confrontation with Palpatine and Mace Windu and Anakin showing up, and him killing Mace and all unlimited power. She's hearing all of this in her head, and she feels it, and it's such a powerful moment. And you don't see any more Jedi from this point forward. You don't see Anakin, until later. You don't see Obi-Wan, you don't see Yoda. And this is what I really appreciate about this show and about how they decided to end the series. They wanted to end it with something we weren't familiar with. They wanted to end it with another perspective. And to me, it's both beautiful and it has another meaning, because you don't see any other Jedi because of Order 66, but we do know that there's some still alive. But you get to feel Ahsoka being alone. She's now fighting for her own life. She understands. She's under the assumption she's the last of the Jedi at this point. Whether or not she considers herself a Jedi is another story. But she completely feels like she is alone. And so for the show not to show us Obi-Wan again, or show us Yoda again, or Skywalker before he makes his transformation into Vader, it's such a great decision so that you can understand how alone she is. And then the clones all turn on her. I got to say this last part, then I'll let you take over. Rex is like, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take care of her. Don't worry about it. Points his pistols at her. And he says, I think the last things that Fives was saying to him, find him. Fives, he's got tears running down his eyes. You can see him struggling with what he's about to do. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Yeah, she fights them off, and she's able to turn Rex toward the end of the episode. But let's hear from you, sir. This whole entire moment of Order 66 and the rest of the episode, your thoughts?
Oh man, you brought that scene on perfect timing. Like I said, I have the episodes running right now here in the back, and it's literally that scene. She just fended off the troopers and she just escaped through the shaft up above.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the music was perfect. And I think not writing, but dialogue was limited on purpose in this episode, because I think the writers want us to feel what's happening. They want us to feel the uneasiness of what's happening, the terrible, sad truth of what is going on. And you can almost see it in Maul's eyes, right? Because that's all we see. That's all we see in this container that he's in. We only see his
Hannibal
eyes.
Lecter, yeah.
Yes, he's trapped in this thing like Hannibal Lecter, and it's a cartoon, right? But you see so much emotion and worriness in his eyes. Only his eyes, and he's like this powerful Sith Lord or ex-Sith Lord, but you can genuinely see he's concerned. Like, is this how I'm gonna die? Like this? But Ahsoka saves him, and while she says, I'm not saving you because it's the right thing to do, I'm saving you because I need a distraction, which was great.
Oh yeah.
But let me get back to when she's on the bridge and she has the force vision of what's happening. So first of all, I think it was amazing how they brought in the actual from the movie. They brought in Hayden Christensen's voice, and and towards the end when he says, "What have I done?" It slowly goes from Hayden Christensen to Matt Lanner's voice. Matt Lanner's the voiceover actor for Anakin this whole series. So it's so cool how it kind of transitioned into Matt Lanner's voice. It was so cool to hear Sam Jackson's voice, Ian McDermott, and Hayden Christensen just in that scene. And dude, I'm getting goosebumps. But that whole scene was it blew my mind. And it hurt, dude. Like, I felt emotion. I didn't tear up or anything, but I was like, holy shit. Like, it's about to go down. Like, Order 66 is about to be executed. And sure enough, Rex is in the little control room, and your Sidious pops up, execute Order 66, right?
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and you're right. You see the tears running down his face, and it's like, I think he was able to buy Ahsoka a few more moments to realize what's happening before it actually happened.
Yes.
I think he saved her life in that instant. And the motion capture of that scene with her fending off those blasters was shot beautifully.
It's amazing.
I think she was able to get away because she was able to with the sabers, and she was kind of like cutting up the control panel that she was standing on, brought up so much smoke that it blinded the clone troopers, and she was able to escape. Beautifully done.
Incredible.
And like I said, she released Maul simply for the distraction. I thought that was entertaining. I thought that was funny. And then they bring back the droids. I think the droids in this episode was amazing that they did that, because I think the whole Clone Wars series, the droids play a big role.
Oh, sure.
In the entire show. So to kind of bring them back too was nice to see. She uses them to help her out, figure out a way out of here, or to figure out what's happening with Rex, mostly because she knows something's not right. So to see that much effort put from Ahsoka to figure out what's happening, she's able to find the database as far as with Fives, what happened with Five. She's able to figure out the whole chip situation and start putting the pieces together. It was just like, in my mind, I'm like, well, how are you going to get off the ship? You're in hyperspace. You can't just hop onto an escape pod and off you go. Like, that's not going to be good. So I'm trying to quiet my mind and just enjoy the show, because if I'm watching this and I'm trying to figure out all these different scenarios, I'm just going to get distracted. And I'm glad I did, because I was able to really fully enjoy the episode, and watching Maul do his thing with no saber, just relying solely on the Force was brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal, dude. It was just, decapitating people left and right. Like, I don't think they've ever gotten
with like doors and panels, right? And just like the environment around him. So great, man.
What's awesome to see also is, how we always give stormtroopers so much shit because their accuracy is terrible.
They can't hit anything.
They can't hit anything. The clones are just as bad. You know what I mean? Like, they're shooting at Maul, completely missing this dude. And I guess one could argue, well, it's because he's using the Force in that instant, and the lasers are just going around him. But
sure,
I don't think so. I think their aim is just bad in general.
Could be.
But just to see Maul in that instance of pure power in the Force was just
epic,
amazing to see. Yeah, because you don't really, in the movies anyway, you don't see anybody fighting like that at all. And so it was great for them to incorporate. It was great to see them incorporate that here, to show, like, you don't need a lightsaber to fight. If you believe in the Force, that's going to get you through, certain instances. So, we get to the instance where Ahsoka is finally able to get Rex to the med bay. She's able to figure it out, a la Rogue One. The Force is with me. Little prayer chant that
right
would pray. That helped her locate the little chip, and for them to, like, that whole scene was intense, right? Because the clones are they're getting through the door. She has the droids helping her out. She's trying to figure out, like, she needs an emergency surgery right now on Rex. Like, get that shit out of his head. And, she's fending these dudes off. She's getting, nicked in the arms and the shoulders, and she's doing her best to hold off this crowd. And, we get that, that dramatic double shot from Rex that shoots those two clones, and, the door's able to shut. And it's the episode ended in such anticipation for the next one.
Oh my God.
I can't tell you how, like, excited is not the right word. I can't even describe the emotion I was feeling at the end of that episode, but it was something. It was something for sure.
I said, arguably one of the most anticipated TV episodes of the Clone Wars, if not the most anticipated episode of the Clone Wars. Absolutely amazing. Which brings us to the finale, episode 12, Victory and Death, the end of Star Wars, the Clone Wars. We start out with a shot of the destroyer in hyperspace. And one of the things that I noticed right off the bat is that all the colors you used to see on the destroyer, like that big stripe just going down the center from front to back, all those colors are practically gone. And now you just see this sort of empire-like grayness to the entire ship. So I just thought that was a great way to show the transition from the Republic to the Galactic Empire, as Palpatine would say. So I just love that little detail. But Ahsoka and Rex are trying to save their asses, basically, while Maul is destroying the ship from the inside. Tearing down the hyperspace generators to pull it out of hyperspace. And I love that in one of the next scenes, Rex is trying to reason with the clones. He's like, hey, look, Order 66 is all about killing the Jedi. Ahsoka's not a Jedi. She left them a long time ago. Technically, guys, she doesn't count. Come on, guys.
So I want to stop you there, okay?
Oh,
because that's what I wanted to ask you on earlier is what are your thoughts about that argument? Because let me bring it back to y'all's review of episode 9. and talking about the Jedi, Ryan kept saying how Ahsoka is still a Jedi and how she's the last Jedi, and I said, no sir, no sir, she is not a Jedi because she left the Order a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great that Rex brought that up as, you know, his way of trying to protect her, you know.
In my head, I'm even thinking that too. I'm like, come on, man, you could probably reason with them. Like, she's not a Jedi. Yeah, she's got
Well, and what's
lightsabers,
great,
but that doesn't mean
and
anything.
what's great about is what they're showing here is, yeah, they're under this order to execute the Jedi for treason, but it shows that they can be reasoned with, that they're not these zombies
No.
that people probably initially thought that they turned into. You know, they're clones. They were created specifically to follow orders, and that's what they're doing in this instance. You know, they were ordered to execute the Jedi because of committing treason.
And
You know,
only the
it's
Jedi.
obviously, well, no, because they were ordered to kill Maul as well. So
That's true.
Which is kind of strange because he's not a Jedi, but I think in that instance, it's almost like they're programmed to kill any type of Force wielder. You know, anybody that could pose a threat to the Empire.
Okay, gotcha. Sounds good. And then one of the most epic scenes after that is they've bought themselves some time to escape. Maul actually grabs one of the ships they were going to take, and Ahsoka's trying to pull him, keep him on the ship, but she releases, knowing full well that Rex needs her to defend him, and so she chooses to save Rex over trying to defeat Maul, which is just a great emotional moment.
How cool was the scene of her and Rex? They're back to back.
I love it.
She throws the lightsabers down, and with the Force, she spins them in a circular motion, cuts a hole. But like, that scene was so amazing, dude. And it's almost like that's something she learned from Anakin, because there's a cut scene. There's a deleted scene in Episode 3 where Anakin and Obi-Wan and Palpatine, they're caught in some ray shields while on the ship that General Grievous is on. Well, Anakin and Obi-Wan use their sabers to cut a hole in the floor to cut through. I feel like because that scene was deleted there, it's almost like they used it over here. It was just done beautifully. It was so cool.
It's amazing. Yeah, so good, man. So good. They ended up fighting off the clones, but I love the inner struggle with Ahsoka. She knows they're not themselves. She knows that their lives are valuable. So she's doing
everything she can not to kill them.
She can to not kill any of these guys. But ultimately, Rex is like, look, these are my men, and there's no way to save them and yourself. You just have to save yourself. So the ship ends up crashing. They're able to escape. And then we come to one of the final scenes of the series. She buries all of the soldiers that she finds and places her helmets on I'm going to say pikes, but
including
little
Jesse.
tombstones. Yeah, including him. Drops her lightsabers. She understands now. You know, I can't live this
she
life.
She drops a lightsaber.
She did drop a lightsaber. You're right. Dropped a lightsaber, which much time later afterwards, Darth Vader returns and picks up the saber. And I'm wondering at this point, I'm under the impression he thinks that she's dead.
So
but I can also see it that he doesn't care either way, because even if she was alive, he's not going to pursue her.
I think he does care. And here's why. So she drops the saber, I think, for two reasons. One, she knows this is the end of the Jedi.
Right.
So she knows deep down she has to go into hiding. So I think she drops it to give the impression that she's dead.
Yeah.
The other reason I think she drops it is I think she drops it with the intent of knowing Anakin will find it. So when he shows up and he picks it up out of the snow, which Grant, I think the time frame from this scene to Revenge of the Sith is probably like a season, so maybe like 6 months or so.
Sure.
You know, it's probably from like summer to winter for all we know. It's definitely wintertime, obviously, right? Well, anyways, so and this is something I read because at first I didn't think two things about it, but when Vader picks up the saber, he looks up and he sees kind of like a bird,
the Morai
flying in the air. That bird is supposed to be either the daughter of the light side force or the sun. It's supposed to be like a symbolism of one of those. And when he looks up, his lenses almost change color because of like the sun. Like it kind of turns into a red color, a red filter almost. But you can see his eyes, and his eyes aren't the color of when he's like angry and he's like possessed by the dark side of the force.
Yeah.
Which, you know, in Revenge of the Sith, every time he got to that point, they were like a red, yellow, reddish color, you know. Well, when he looks up, it's a normal color. It's just brown, his normal eye color. I think at that instance, he's Anakin again for that brief moment. And I think that's why he keeps the saber, as, you know, a way to remember his friend. Because, you know, Padme even says it. She doesn't say it, but I think it's almost implied. She's trying to tell Kenobi there's still good in him. You know, right before she dies on giving labor to Luke and Leia, you know, she tells him there's still good in him.
Yeah.
And I think that scene of him picking up the saber shows that there's still humanity left in him. Because essentially, when you think about it, everything he did for love.
Sure.
Right?
Exactly.
He didn't do it because he didn't do it because he was pissed. He did it because he loved this woman so much. He was willing to do anything to save her.
Yeah.
It just so happens that it drove him mad. It drove him to a point of no return. But at the end of the day, he did it for love. And love is a quality of the light side, not the dark.
There you go. I completely agree. And like I said, I think we're kind of saying the same thing a little bit. I mean that he does care about Ahsoka to not seek her out, to not hunt her down, because that's what he's been doing for like, you know, a while he's been Vader, is like hunting down the last remaining Jedi. And but I think this is someone he just lets go of completely. Someone that he needed to let go of. And that's something he couldn't do, like you said, with Padme. Couldn't let go of Padme.
I got a visitor.
Look at your little Padawan. Hi.
Yeah, that's my little Padawan.
She's so tired.
Can't hear you. Yeah.
That's right. She can't hear me. Well, we're at the end of the series. We're at the end of our show. I'm just going to say that I really enjoyed season 7 all the way from first episode, The Bad Batch. I loved that team. They were just so good. And then Echo coming back, finding out that he's been tortured. They've been using him to find out strategies of the Republic. Just incredible storytelling. I loved every single bit of it. And then, you know, following Ahsoka, probably the second half of the show, and just seeing how far she's come, man. I mean, she went from being a very sort of shoot first, ask questions later type Padawan, you know, very reckless, very combative, a lot of attitude, to being so intelligent, smart, cunning, and adaptive to surviving Order 66, which
she
not many
definitely
Jedi did.
became a powerful user in the Force for
Oh,
sure.
completely. So I just love seeing what she's become, what she's grown into. And we know now Rosario Dawson's going to play her in the upcoming season of The Mandalorian. So
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
give us your final thoughts, sir, on the Clone Wars, the finale, the last 4 parts. Was it everything you wanted it to be?
Yeah, so overall, I love the show. It's some of the best material they put out on Star Wars content. These last 4 episodes were probably everything I could have hoped for. I didn't go into it expecting or hoping to see certain things. I just wanted a good story, and man, they definitely gave me that. Very happy with the way it turned out. Happy with the results. I would love to see more Clone Wars content for sure. Like what happens to Rex and Ahsoka, and during this quarantine, or where they where do they go? From here. I want to see the transition from the clones to the stormtroopers. How long after they start to change from using clones to using people? When does that happen? At what point? Because as clones, I remember reading they have they age faster than people.
Right.
So what happens when these guys age out of their ability to be clones and soldiers? So there's a lot of curious to see what would happen from there if they ever came out with more Clone Wars content. But I loved it. I loved it overall. Yeah.
Which leads us to what's next for the Clone Wars. What do I mean by that? Well, at around the time that the show was canceled after season 6, there was still a lot of planned episodes that were worked on. Rob, would you believe there's around 40 episodes of unfinished content remaining for the Clone Wars? That's right. We were supposed to actually dive in way past Order 66, the events of Revenge of the Sith. This was actually supposed to go on forward and complete arcs of some of the supporting characters, Cad Bane, Asajj, a lot of the other characters that would pop up from time to time. We were going to see them once more and have their stories complete. So what happens to all that stuff that was worked on, animated, voice over was already completed for it? What happens to all that? Well, we don't know. They completed the story for the Clone Wars as they saw fit. And if they wanted to, they could eventually release a lot of this content in the near future or in a few years. And I don't think any fans are going to be upset or hold it against them by any means. So to Dave Filoni and to everybody else who is attached to the project, especially George Lucas, bravo! You did a wonderful job. Thanks for bringing the show back. Thanks for just the epic way that you ended it. And I think I speak for Rob and all the other Clone Wars fans and Jericho, who's still catching up, that if you ever wanted to release more content, if you ever wanted to release these lost episodes, if you will, we would be all for it. The fans would love it. It would be tremendous. You could do them as like a mini series, or put them in like a longer format and make them like films, if you will, however you want to do it. But there can be an extension of what we got. it's all about whether or not Disney or Dave or anybody else, Lucas Arts or Lucasfilm wants to do it. So who knows? But cross your fingers that one day they will complete the entire story of the Clone Wars. Any thoughts on that, Rob?
That's interesting to hear. I would love to see that released some way somehow.
I would, yeah. completely. Lastly, absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved the series. I always wanted more just backstory on the Force and Jedi powers. I mean, I love stuff like the Father of the Force with the son and the daughter, that kind of stuff.
Very cool, right?
Diving into the mythology of it all, like that's just tremendous.
These deities, right? Deities, essentially, of the Force, like the origination of how the Force works.
So good, very cool. And adds more meaning to like Anakin balancing the Force. He already did it way back when, and that was, I bring that up now because that was the first time Anakin had learned of his fate. The son revealed the fate of Anakin, what was to come, Order 66, all of it, revealed it all, the transition into Vader. And the father erases memory. So again, one of those key pivotal moments of the show where like we could have took a drastic turn here and would avoided all of this carnage and all of this mess. And that was way back, season 3, I think that was, or
3 or 4.
Season 3, when we were dealing with the father, the son, and the daughter. So fantastic show. If you haven't watched it, I don't know why you've been watching us spoiling everything. But go watch it again. Tell your friends to watch it. That way y'all can discuss it.
I guess we should have prefaced at the beginning of the show. This was a spoiler filled.
I'll put a title or something. It'll be in a title above us. Anyways, that'll do it for this episode of the Countdown to the Geekcast. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like this post, this video, comment on what else you thought about the Clone Wars, and do you want to see the last remaining episodes or content of the Clone Wars revealed sometime in the future, or are you happy the way they ended it and you can just move on to Rebels, right, Rob? We should go talk about Rebels after this.
Yeah, I've actually, that's my next thing to start watching. I saw season 1 a long time ago, and I was unable to keep up with it because I didn't have, I think it was on Disney XD or whatever. It was on some channel I didn't have, so I couldn't keep up with it. But now that it's on the Disney app, so I can go back and rewatch those. Awesome. And Ahsoka does come back. In the first season, she returns more older.
Yeah, fantastic. So we're going to have to definitely talk about that. And don't forget that this Friday is the cast reunion of the Clone Wars watch party on our Facebook page at Countdown to the Geekcast. For the Countdown to the Geekcast, my name is Steady. With me on this Clone Wars finale review episode is the one and only Jedi himself, Rob.
And birthday episode.
And Star Wars Day episode. The one and only Master Jedi himself, Rob.
Sir, thank you. Thanks for having me. And thanks for pretty much having this show for me.
Have a good night, everybody. May the Force be with you, and the 4th, and the 5th,
always,
and the 6th, and the whole month of May. Why not?
And that's enough.
Celebrate it all month long. All right, everybody.
There you go.
Hey guys, AJ Nyland here. For more Geekcast episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes or your smart device podcast app. And please, write us a review. Be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Countdown City Geekcast. Follow us on Twitter at CCG_podcast or visit our website at www.countdowncitygeekcast.com.